So I'd like to welcome everyone to the first Fall 2021 UW System Virtual Career Trek. So we're excited that you're with us today. I know we will have some students joining us as we start today. I think some students had class until a little after noon. And so sometimes Haley will stop the participants from coming into the Zoom after around 12:05. But I think today she's going to let people come in a little bit later. And so welcome to the GEA Process and Engineering Virtual Career Trek. UW River Falls is proud to host our featured company today. And the employees that we will talk to from the company today are mainly based out of Hudson, Wisconsin. So a quick trip up Highway 35 to our neighboring city of Hudson. Our treks this fall are hosted from noon to 1, sometimes noon to 12:30. It just kind of depends on how long the trek is. But they're starting at noon every Wednesday this fall. And so this is our first trek. We want to thank everyone that's on the call today. Sometimes we have faculty and staff, and of course our students. And so I'm just really excited to engage with all of you today to learn more about our featured employer. And a huge thanks to Haley Carr from UW Superior Career Services. She's one of our Career Trek committee members and is our tech guru and puts a lot of time on the front end for every single one of these treks to get them up and running. And so thank you, Haley, for being on today and for guiding us through where things are at. So the official registration will be in the chat. And if you don't see it right now, I will add it at different times throughout the Zoom call today, just because I don't think you can access it if it's placed there before you join the Zoom. And so that is the official registration. So for our students from UW Stevens Point, this is how you get credit for attending. For students who are in a class that I teach, this is how you get credit for attending. So please fill out that participant verification form that will land in the chat, as that is your official registration for today. The treks are a UW system initiative. So every 4-year UW system school came together in June of 2020 and brainstormed this idea to bring employers to students when everyone was pretty much virtual at that time. And so we decided to continue that this fall and spring. And then we will record this. So this will be on the UW System Career Trek website at a later time. And then also our next trek will be next week. We're featuring Rockwell Automation, and that'll be hosted by our friends at UW Milwaukee. So really excited to learn more about that company out of Milwaukee, the Milwaukee area. And so I am going to stop sharing my screen now. And I'm going to turn it over to our friends at GEA. And so what's fabulous right now is after stopping and sharing my screen, I saw all of those wonderful student faces pop up on my computer screen. So welcome to all of our students that are on the call, and we will go through the presentation. We'll have time at the end for Q&A, but if you think of a question as things are moving throughout today, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I will gather that and write that down. We'll make sure that we get that question answered at the end. And so for now, I will turn it over to our featured company. And I think, Brenda, you are going to go first.
I am. Yeah, thank you very much. Just want to first say thank you for everyone for joining us today and welcome. We're really looking forward to sharing a little bit about our company with you and to answering any questions you have. I'm going to kind of kick it off with a fun fact on GEA. So the pronunciation of our company, if you're in Germany, is GEA. If you're in the US, some people say GEA, some people say GEA. It just kind of depends on preference. So either of the above works. So if we go to the next slide here, talk a little bit about kind of what we're going to discuss today. We'd love to introduce you to our team. and then talk a little bit about GEA for GEA at a glance, and then share with you some opportunities at GEA, and then again, answer some questions you have. So first, I'd like to introduce you to the team. Amanda, if you want to kind of kick it off.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda Hubert-Stasma. I'm a process engineer with membrane filtration. I've been with GEA for 9 years. I have a bachelor's of science in food science, and then an emphasis or minor in dairy technology. And then I also have a master's in agricultural education, both from the University of Wisconsin River Falls.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Melke, previously Lisa Ecker. I am a project manager with the beverage and filling group for GEA. I have my bachelor's degree in agriculture engineering technology from UW River Falls, and I'm currently working on my MBA in engineering management from SNHU and WPI.
I'm Joshua Mako. I work primarily in the production areas in the shop, and I currently am the facility manager and also manufacturing engineer. I've been with the company for about 5 years, and I graduated with manufacturing engineering from University of Wisconsin Stout.
Hi everyone, my name is Maddie Drewiski, and I am currently the Manager of Business Support for Liquid and Powder Technologies Division. I've been with GEA for 4 years, and I am a UW La Crosse alumni and majored in business management and sustainable business minor.
Hey everyone, Brenda Dario. I'm the HR business partner for the Liquid and Powder Technologies Division within GEA. I've been at GEA since November, so almost a year here, and graduated from Minnesota State University in Mankato in HR management.
All right,
so next up.
Yep, thanks Brenda.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. So everyone can see my screen okay. And as Brenda mentioned, we'll be talking a little bit about who we are as a company and what we do, and then we'll go into applicable majors and positions within GEA for you as a student. So GEA is a process engineering company that designs and builds processing equipment in a variety of applications and industries. So what does that really mean, and how does it impact you? So let's say another business wants to make a certain product. They would come to GEA and ask us if we could help them create that product. So we have a variety of equipment and engineers that can help that business bring their product to life. So looking at this slide, we like to do a little day in the life of a college kid, or at least what I think a college kid would still be doing. I'm not sure if it's changed too much since we've been in school, but starting in the top left, these are all images of products that are touched or created from GEA equipment or processes. So let's say this morning you woke up, you had a cup of coffee, maybe threw some milk in there, and then you had to hop over to the clinic to donate some plasma for some fun spending money for this weekend coming up. These are all examples of products or equipment that is touched by GEA. And then moving over to the top right image, all of the shipping containers. Let's say you had a package from Amazon that arrived on your doorstep later this morning. There's probably some GEA marine equipment on that ship. And then my personal favorite is the chicken nugget fact. Every third chicken nugget is produced using GEA technology. And then, you know, if you're of age, maybe you like to wind out the day with a nice alcoholic beverage, and that's also pretty consistently processed on some sort of GEA equipment. All right, so how do we touch this many different products in so many different industries? A lot of it is our footprint and how we're set up within our company, and it's our people. So we're one of the largest world suppliers of for food systems in food, beverage, and pharmaceutical industries. And we're a global company headquartered out of Dusseldorf, Germany. Worldwide, we have 18,000 employees, and you can see the variety of office locations we have here on this slide indicated by the blue pins. In North America, we have about 1,600 employees. Our main offices are out of Columbia, Maryland and Hudson, Wisconsin. So you can see from this map and spread that this really provides us a structure with a diverse set of skills, resources, and connections so we can execute the projects that we do across many different industries. We like to say that we are a local and global company because of our strong staff and agility here in the States, but then we also have the corporate reach to our other entities across the world in case we need to tap into different resources for new projects or new industries. So now Brenda will take it over with our mission and values.
So our mission here at GEA is we strive to be the world's most respected technology group, offering cutting-edge solutions for sustainable processes that improve people's everyday lives. And then if we go to the vision, we've got some key categories that, or our values, sorry. If we go to our values, we have some key categories that make up our values, specifically excellence, passion, integrity, responsibility, and GEAversity. And our values are the foundation of our success as technology and market leader. And basically we stand for excellence in everything we do. We work with passion without obsession. We walk our talk. We feel responsible for our actions, and we recognize and appreciate differences across the borders. So these values are shared by all of our employees and are very important to GEA. And then next up, we have a
Yes, so as Maddie highlighted, we're one of the largest suppliers for food processing and related industry. So energy, for example, would be a related industry. Our group specializes in machinery, plants, as well as process technology and components. So here we have our group structure. We are broken up into 5 different divisions. So the first being separation and flow technologies. So some examples of separation and flow technologies are some component-based parts, such as a valve. So a valve that opens and closes to move product through a stainless steel pipe, or a separator. So many of you might be familiar with a cream separator, for example, that removes the cream from milk and leaves you with 2 product streams, so the cream and then skim milk that can be used in further dairy processes or consumption. Next, we have liquid and powder technologies. And so liquid and powder technologies, those are our full process solutions. So those are tailor-made and custom built entire lines of equipment. And that involves liquid processing, for example, heat treatments, mixing, membrane filtration technologies, evaporation, spray drying, and powder handling. Next, we have food and healthcare technologies. So this is kind of home and healthcare products like soap, also bakery products, so ready to eat baked goods, pasta, so pasta extruded into all of the fun different shapes, frozen foods, that's been a really big one, especially this past year with everyone kind of staying at home more. And then slicing, so meat slicing, packaging, and then confectionery equipment. We have lollipop equipment, for example. And so that kind of encompasses that big food and healthcare group. Next, we have farm technology. So many of you, if you grew up on a dairy farm or are familiar with dairy farming, might be more familiar with our farming technology division. And maybe you know us more as some of our acquisition names, such as GEA Westphalia Surge, for example, some old iconic brand names from the dairy farming industry. So this is our milking equipment, manure spreaders, manure separators, some of our feeding equipment, some of our hygiene products for disinfecting on the dairy farm. And for those of you more interested in the dairy farming side, if you are heading down to World Dairy Expo, which is happening in a few weeks, you can check out our booth at the trade show and you can visit with some of our sales engineers and some of our dealer networks, and you can talk to them about working for GEA on the farm technology side. And then last, we have refrigeration technologies, and that's chillers and compressors and heat pumps. And so that involves our kind of heating and cooling division. And today we're going to be focusing on liquid and powder technology specifically, as that is the division that is at our Hudson, Wisconsin location. And so with focus on liquid and powder technology, the vision for our division is that we strive to safeguard future generations by providing sustainable engineering for a better world. And engineering for a better world, as you can see that on every slide that we have here, that's really our slogan. And that's also part of what we live by as well. And our mission is within the industries that we serve, we want to be a global market leader in process engineering, sustainable solutions and services. And by that leadership, we mean being among the 3 largest suppliers in all the industries that we work in, being recognized as best-in-class project implementation partners, being recognized as technology leaders in technology areas that we choose to participate in, and then servicing our customers wherever they're located. So as Maddie showed earlier, that map, that global map that shows a array of all of our offices, we want to be where our customers are so we can provide great service to them. And then also always delivering our promises to all stakeholders. So again, as you saw in some of our kind of mission statements, we want to walk our talk and we want to be there for our stakeholders. So focusing a little bit more on the technology. So when we say liquid and powder, what does that mean? So for liquid technologies, anything that we're pumping through some stainless steel pipes, so hygienic liquid processes, meaning with good sanitation and quality. And this covers other technologies like mixing, membrane filtration that I work on. Membrane filtration involves sending product through membranes to remove water, for example, or we can fractionate products as well. So dairy is a big one where we can break up milk into its different components with membrane filtration, such as concentrating protein, which, as many of you know, out in the market, there are a lot of products that are packed with protein. So whether it be beverages, bars, or even crackers, you know, protein is really on trend right now. And so we can concentrate protein out of milk or whey, for example, for those types of products. We also have heat treatments here. So this would be, you know, pasteurization. So we are able to treat product streams to take care of any microorganisms. Aseptic processing, so doing some sterile treatments so we can have some beverages that are shelf stable and don't have to be refrigerated. We have cheese making equipment as well. And then some of the different product areas would be market fluid milk, so just drinking milk, ice cream, cheese, soups, and then condiments, as well as biotech, home and personal care, as well for liquid technologies. Then we have powder technologies that really complements liquid technology. So a lot of times we're taking liquid and we're trying to convert it to a powder, and we're converting to a powder for ease of transport. So we don't have to pay to ship water around, and also to extend shelf life. So we can have a powder that can be used in different products all around the world, and that can last a lot longer than if it was kept in its liquid form. So for that technology portfolio, we have evaporation. So again, we're in the business of removing water. So we're trying to remove more water from liquid with the evaporator, and then sending it to a spray dryer that makes a powder. And then from there, we have to take that powder and put it into a 50-pound bag, let's say, or a tote, or even package it into canisters for infant formula, for example. Next, we have beverage and filling technologies. So this is where we supply end-to-end solutions. So material handling, so for handling some grain, extraction, brewing, mixing and blending, heat treatments, as well as packaging and some of our bottling as well for those products. And then chemical technologies, a lot of the same technologies involved, such as evaporation and some distillation and crystallization. And these products, this product portfolio of equipment is used to make things like specialty chemicals, minerals, salts, agrochemicals. And again, so if you work in the egg industry, things like fertilizer would be produced on some of our equipment, like evaporators, and also salts and so forth for our chemical portfolio. Again, looking a little bit more at our expertise. So we've kind of highlighted the different industries that we're in, beverage, chemical, dairy, and food. And out of our Hudson office, we are primarily the beverage, dairy, and food at those locations. Chemical is at our Maryland office. And then technology-wise that we have expertise in as well, again, is the technologies that I just highlighted, beverage and filling, liquid technologies, powder, and then emission control as well. But what we also excel at as well is service. So once we install a plant, we build a plant, we commission it, we get it started up, we want to be part of maintaining that plant. We want it to operate well for a lifetime. We want to be part of optimizing that plant. So if we need to get more throughput, if there's more product demand, we want to be able to help our customers with that, as well as if there is to ever be a plant expansion, or we want to take some equipment and use it for a different product, let's say, that's all of those concepts compose our service packages. And another big expertise is some of our competencies. So we have product and process development. So a lot of times our customers will come up with something on benchtop or in their own pilot plant, and they want to bring that to life. So they will come to our test centers and test specifically on our equipment. We can collect that data and then help them scale up and develop their process. So we excel at process design. And then once we come up with those concepts, that end-to-end project management for executing, building their new processing plant. And then also automation. And so as I heard in our intro today, you will also be hearing from Rockwell Automation next week. And so automation is also a key competency, and hopefully you'll also learn a lot from Rockwell too. So next we're going to talk about career opportunities.
So within GEA, I mean, we take on a lot of different degrees, bachelor's, master's, we have some PhDs. There's really a variety of opportunities. You know, we're not limited to any specific degrees, no matter what the position is. So just some examples, bachelor's and master's degrees that we often look for, that we have in our office, would be aerospace engineering and mechanics, agricultural engineering, that is my background, biology, earth sciences, biosystems engineering, business administration, chemical engineering, civil engineering, controls engineering, and that includes electrical engineering as well, data analytics, engineering physics, finance, food science, management, mechanical engineering, physics, product development, and supply chain management. I mean, really the degree options are endless. Lots of opportunities, and we're open to a lot of different degrees. So we are going to focus on just a few of the positions that we have. Some of these entry-level positions are what you might look at coming straight out of college. Some good options. We are going to focus on 3 of them that are starred with an asterisk in a couple of slides later. I think these are, those 3 are ones we have a lot of positions open for, and they're really great coming out of college. And those are applications engineering, field service. Some of our field service guys or gals are techs, or they're engineers. So it could be a field service engineer or field service tech. Project engineering, mechanical, electrical design, that includes everything from CAD design. We use Autodesk Inventor for a lot of our 3D modeling. We also use Autodesk Plant 3D, as long as some 2D programs as well. Mechanical electrical design, process controls, automation engineering, additionally electrical engineering in there as well, business administration and data analytics. And then after some time with the company, or later on in your career, you could advance into project management, process engineer, team lead in a variety of different areas, supply chain, procurement, finance, continuous improvement. There's not one or just a few career options either. You could start in one role and pivot into something quite a bit different. So you really have options to move around as you see fit. I started with GEA as a project engineer. I started working with our dairy group and then transitioned into project engineering work for our beverage group. I did switch to become an applications engineer for a short period of time. After realizing application engineering wasn't great for me, I transitioned back into project engineering, and now I'm a project manager for beverage. So just an example of the different career path options. There's not just one option. So we can take a minute now if the rest of our team wants to walk through what their progression was within GEA. Amanda, do you want to give us your career progression?
Yep. I will kick it off. So I started out as an applications engineer. And so I worked specifically with whey processing. So I was hired as part of a specialized team. We were looking at developing the best practices for whey processing, some R&D opportunities for the areas that we needed to improve upon. And then we're also served as sales support globally. So as Maddie said earlier, again, being a global company and being able to tap into global experts, I was on that team of global experts, learning from all of those experts. And then I progressed into being a process specialist. And in that role, I had more focus on cheese and whey processing, as in the cheese process, we end up having whey as a byproduct or a co-product rather, because whey is very valuable, and focusing on, again, supporting customers, best practices in processing, and then a little bit more on innovation and how we could innovate in those different areas. And then my third role was actually as an R&D engineer, where I strictly worked on project management of R&D projects. And that was mostly revolving around membrane filtration. So again, how we can fractionate milk, we can harvest all of its valuable components like protein, lactose, and minerals. And then now have segued into being a process engineer. So as we talk about advancement opportunities, as you can see on the screen, I'm now a process engineer in membrane filtration, where I focus specifically on that technology, working on sizing the equipment, supporting customers, as they have questions and different requests, conducting different R&D trials, and then also going on site as we commission and build our plants to start up those plants. So next, I'll hand it off to Josh, and then we'll also have Maddie speak as well after that.
All right, thank you. So yeah, as I mentioned, I'm Josh Mako. So I started in 2016 as a manufacturing engineer in the production area of GEA, where we actually take the physical equipment and the prints from design and engineering, and we fabricate and produce the machines that would then go into the different companies to produce milk, dairy, beverage, pharmaceutical applications. So my role here is I'm responsible for the process and procedures for fabricating the equipment, as well as the layout of how the shop flows and which equipment we need to physically make the products. Kind of some of the more exciting projects that I've done is we developed our ASME program and got certified for both our U and our R stamp. I believe that was back in 2018. And then in 2020, I took on the role of facility manager, basically putting together preventative maintenance schedules and develop maintenance software to be able to track and record all of the different maintenance tasks that are being completed. And I'm also responsible for internal and external vendor management of basically maintenance and facilities execution, and both scheduled and emergency type breakdowns. With that, I'll pass it over to Maddie.
Great, thanks, Josh. So my path is a little different since I am not engineering background. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm a business management major, but just an example that we need all different skills to run a company. So my career progression started with GEA as a contractor in a business analyst position. So I was working with our dairy team, really understanding the business there. And 6 months later, I was brought on full-time as a project coordinator, continuing to build off of those internal operational improvements and different initiatives that we needed to execute for the dairy team and Hudson office. From that position, I had an opportunity to go over to Switzerland for 4 months and work on a product development project. So we worked on efficiencies in the spray drying process. And once I returned from that trip, I worked as an application engineer in the dairy team, just to understand more of the estimations and quoting process that we do with our customers to really round out my experience and understanding of the business. And in January of 2020, I took on the position of business support manager. So now I have a small team where we're running sales support, some facilities management, helping out at the front desk, and then also with more recently data analytics. So that is something that we're expanding into. So just a few different examples. I think if you spoke to anyone within GEA, you would find a lot of different paths to where people are today and where they started. And now we'll talk about the 3 positions that are highlighted or starred here on this slide. So the application engineer, project engineer, and process controls engineer. And we'll dive in a little bit more to those positions, because those would really be the positions that would be more for new grads, so most applicable for the audience today. So Lisa will take that, starting with the application engineer. Or Amanda.
I'm going to start actually, and then I'll hand it off to Lisa. So as you just heard, so Lisa, myself, and Maddie have all been applications engineers, and they really complement the sales engineer. So the sales engineer is the person that's kind of facing the customer, addressing customer needs and constant communication with the customer. And then that applications engineer is really a good support for sales and assists sales and making customer visits and assessing their needs. And so if we give an example, since I have a background in dairy, often a customer comes to us and they'll say, I want to make a product with this specification. So if we use whey as an example, they want a whey product with a specific composition. If they want a powder, they want it with different attributes. They want it to be mixable. They want it to be soluble. So then as an application engineer, we look at those final product specs. What is the customer asking for? And then how can our GEA solution technologies get them there? What technologies need to be included to make those final specifications that often include composition? There's usually microbiological requirements. So what heat treatments or other mitigation measures do we need to include? And then also any other types of purification systems. Again, if they want a very pure protein product, what does that entail? And then the customer will often say, okay, this is my final product. Again, what technologies do we need to get there? And then they give us the raw materials they have to work with. So they'll have a raw liquid whey that we need to start with. How do we get to that end product? What are those mass balances? We have product coming in, we have product going out. What do those numbers look like? And then we're sizing the equipment to that. We're sizing the equipment to all of those different product streams, working with process engineers and other experts as needed on design teams, and then using configurators. So as Maddie said, looking at cost estimating, calculating based on the size of equipment, what that will be as a cost for our customers, and packaging that all nicely into a technical quotation to the customer. Also presenting that as a sales presentation to the customer as well. In the image here too, you can also see one of our engineers working in our pilot plant in Denmark. So also potentially supporting different R&D efforts if a customer comes again with a new request, as I mentioned, during our introduction, and they want to scale something up and see how it performs on our equipment. That is something else the applications engineer supports as well. And I'll hand it off to Lisa to see if I missed anything, because she's also been an applications engineer.
Yeah, no, didn't miss anything. I will give an example on the beverage side. So within beverage, I myself have worked on a lot of our alcoholic sector projects, so mostly brewing. We have a lot of projects in the brewing sector, but I have worked on some non-alcoholic projects as well. So we will have customers that can make a new beverage product in a small scale in a lab, and they will come to us saying, this is how we can make it in a lab scale, think of your kitchen. They can make it in something like that, and they want to work with us to come up with a solution to make it large scale in a production facility. So the application engineer for some of our beverage projects gets to work with the sales engineer to get that information, and then also do some of the testing. So when I was an application engineer, I was able to do some testing in our pilot plant in Hudson. We now have pilot plant facilities, I think, around the world. We just opened up a new pilot testing facility over in Europe. I think it's in England, specifically for testing tea. So we have tea, I know we have brewing, we have membrane filtration plants, a lot of processes there. So from there, we work with the customer, get something high level, something that they can purchase and give the rough ideas. And then that transitions into our next role, the project engineer. So once we have that high level proof of concept that we can take their product into a production scale facility, the project would be handed off to a project manager, and then that project manager would have project engineers that will work with them to execute the project. So the project engineer, along with the process engineer, are going to work on getting the technical, the major details of the process done. So they are going to work on that together. That is going to include potentially some more testing, but usually that's done by this point in the project. But they're going to spec the equipment, make sure things are sized correctly to make the product as needed. They're going to work with suppliers. So we do buy out items as well as make some of our own. They're going to make sure those are sized correctly. They're going to fit together, meet the customer needs. They will work with our mechanical designers. So those that are designing in CAD, they're going to work directly with them to say, we need the plant to look like this, or we need these valves to look like this to meet this need. We need this platform designed for this, something like that. So you work directly with the CAD fabricators to tweak designs, to help make designs, things like that. You'll direct manufacturing shops. So once our CAD designers once they have a design built and it's the digital design, it's turning that into the fabrication drawings and working with the shop, whether it be our own shop in Hudson or another shop, to get that built, manage them to make sure things are looking correctly, things like that. You also have to work with the automation engineers and the electrical engineers to make sure our panels are built correctly, our programs are built correctly to do what the plant's needed to do. So GEA, we make a lot of fully automated plants. We do have some customers that want something more manual or semi-manual, but a lot of our work is automated plants. So making sure that works correctly, it's truly a team process, and you get to see it all as a project engineer. And then some of the last steps would be once the equipment's been designed and built, we send it to site, to whatever plant this is going into, and the project engineer gets to help start it up. So it's making sure that the mechanical installation, electrical installation, that all went well, starting it up, running trials on the equipment with the customer, hands-on training with the customer to ensure, this is how the equipment works. These are the buttons you need to click on the screen. These are, this is truly how it works. So it can be a really fun job for that. With the project engineering role comes some travel. It's about 30% travel, I'd say, and it's really project based. So you'll get to travel to wherever the customer plants are to start up the equipment. It can be a lot of fun. And then back to the application engineer, that role is more on the minimal travel. So if traveling isn't for you, then maybe application engineer would be great. If you do like travel and you want to get out to customer facilities, our project engineer job would be a great role to really learn, get hands-on, and work with a lot of engineers in the company. Next, we have our process control engineer. So this is our automation engineer. And our automation engineers work directly with process engineers and project engineers to develop the code to run our plants. So you can use, depending on the customer, use a couple different things, whether it's the AWS, which is a newer one for us, or maybe it's in Allen Bradley, maybe it'll develop something in Siemens. It's really based on customer requests. So a lot of our customers in North America are using Allen Bradley. So that's, I guess, really applicable that you have them speaking next week as well. And then additionally, they'll create the network architecture and controls network. And this is really customer based. So it's going to be, based off of their needs, implement the end user security, again, based on really what the customer wants and needs. Critical in commissioning and troubleshooting of the plants. So these process automation engineers will go through development with process engineers, project engineers to come up with the program. Once it's completed and once they develop that in the office, then they will we'll bring the customer into the office and we'll walk through everything like a dry run. So we'll run through everything on the screen, show them exactly how it will work. They have the opportunity to ask questions, make changes if needed. But assuming everything is good, then we will take the program and the engineers will send them to site and they will implement the program and actually test it on site. So you'll get to see that, okay, I asked the program to do X, Y, and Z, and here it is in front of me doing X, Y, and Z. And now we are brewing beer, or now we are making a seltzer, or something like that. So lots of things like that. The process control engineer is really critical in making these fully automated plants run smoothly, efficiently. And then additionally, they will help with some trainings on site to ensure the operators that are going to be using this equipment know how to, what buttons to click when, make sure the automation crew that they have on site also is familiar with the program that was developed for any troubleshooting. And that's about it for that role, I think.
All right. Thanks, Lisa and Amanda, for giving us a deep dive into some of those main positions that you would look for as a new grad. So we've covered a lot of information today about GEA, who we are, what we do, some of the fun products we have, and the different positions we have. But we wanted to touch on or focus on a few other things about GEA and what makes us kind of special. So 4 things would be our location, benefits, people, and culture. So for location, we're located in Hudson, Wisconsin. It's one of our main offices, which is a wonderful place to be because we're about 30 minutes from the Twin Cities. So as a new college grad, if you want to experience, the city life for a little bit, it's a short commute back over to the Wisconsin side for work. Or if you went to UWRF, it's just a short drive down the highway to get there. But with that local physical location, we really have a local feel to our office. And with the structure of GEA, you get the global access, which is really a benefit and something that a lot of us value, being able to work with people from different cultures, different countries, and being able to travel. So that's the first benefit that we wanted to highlight. And the second is our corporate benefits. So our health benefits, our 401k, tuition reimbursement, as Lisa mentioned, she's pursuing her MBA. So there are a lot of coworkers that will take advantage of the tuition reimbursement to continue to develop their skills and being students for life and adding value to not only their career, but to the company as well. And then the final one is our people and culture. So as we've spoken to the local feel, a lot of it are some of the extra activities that we do to create this environment. So within the community, we're active members in the Hudson Chamber of Commerce. So from that, we are involved in a lot of activities with the schools. You can see in one of the pictures over to the right-hand side that we do tours with a lot of the students coming to our facility. We also are involved in some of the school events that are on site for local STEM events, women in STEM events, and different things like that. We've also done a few different blood drives. We've gone to Feed My Starving Children. And every year we put together Thanksgiving boxes where we will put together a full Thanksgiving meal and donate them to a local food shelf. So besides the community aspect and being involved in the communities that we're located, just within the office and for our staff, we do a few different events every year. The most consistent ones being the summer luncheon and the holiday luncheon. So yes, free food continues even after college. And we bring in this summer, we had food trucks, all local vendors come in, and we had a big picnic outside and it was super fun. And during the holiday luncheon, we do a big luncheon, give out a bunch of prizes, and then we take the afternoon off so people can enjoy a little bit longer holiday weekend. And some other just minor events that we'll do here and there, you know, we'll grab happy hour with coworkers. We'll go to some local sporting events like the Saints game over in St. Paul. And so it really, those events just add to the culture that we have here at the Hudson office and really makes it a unique, special place to come to work. So with that, we wanted to thank you for your time. Thank you, Melissa and Haley, for organizing, and we'll open it up for questions. I think we are at about the 15-minute mark, and I believe you can put them in the chat, but if you're feeling friendly, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask away, and we'll do our best to answer any questions you might have today.
Thank you, everyone. That was a very thorough just overview of your company and who you are. And I know I learned a lot. And so thank you so much to everyone on the call today. We have one question in the chat, and that is just a question about a master's in healthcare informatics. Would that background ever be something that you would look at in hiring into a career at GEA?
I think maybe within our pharmaceutical group, that's probably something that definitely be considered if the path worked and the job is something you're interested in. I don't see why not.
And you mentioned, I think it was Amanda, you mentioned World Dairy Expo. Do any of you travel to that trade show? And then are there other trade shows that you go to, and are any of them like large in scale like World Dairy Expo?
Yeah, so World Dairy Expo is in relation to our farm technologies division. I travel there personally because I grew up on a dairy farm and also raised dairy cattle on the side. And so personally, I travel there. And that's probably for farm technologies, that's one of their big shows. They have some pretty big trade shows in Canada as well. And so for us, focusing on, food and dairy, the really big one is IFT, the Institute of Food Technologists. And that is a big expo that's held annually. They've had it virtually last year. And it rotates between typically Chicago and Las Vegas. So especially if you're a student and it's in the Chicago area, that's a little closer to home. It's a great experience to kind of walk through. We usually have a big booth there. There's also local IFT as well in Minnesota that typically students in River Falls are members of. I'm not sure what local IFTs are available in Wisconsin, if there is one, let's say in other areas. But that's IFT is really our big trade show. We do go to other trade shows as well. Some of them happen every few years. Another global one that we go to is the International Whey Conference. That's both technical and trade show. There is some different cheese shows that also happen between Madison and Milwaukee as well that we partake in. So those are some of our bigger ones. I think there's a lot of brewing ones too, Lisa. You might be more well-versed in those. Some of those are a pretty big deal.
Yeah, there's a lot of brewers conference. I think there's one coming up, the Craft Brewers Conference. I think that's in Denver, but yeah, we do a lot of trade shows and a lot of things like that for beverage.
Thank you. Another question, do you offer internships and or co-ops at the Hudson facility?
Maybe a question for Brenda, but we have had internships in the past.
Yeah, we currently don't have any available right now, but I could foresee them becoming available this summer and potentially even this spring. So, and they could support any of the departments, the business units within our division. So there's definitely will be opportunities available coming soon, but nothing right now if you were to pull up our website and take a look. And we'll make sure to post those on, Handshake and so forth so that the opportunities are very visible. Yeah, good question. We usually do the internship route. We haven't gone the co-op route in the past, but it may be something that we want to look into. So thank you.
Thank you. A couple maybe more HR questions for you, Brenda. Can you describe the hiring process and the timetable for making a decision? And then what factors are most important in your internship selection or hiring selection? And then I think you're all working remote right now. Maybe Josh is the only one that's actually in the office, but can you talk a little bit about kind of the remote work? And is that just during COVID or will it happen after COVID? Kind of what your company culture is surrounding working remotely.
Yeah, so I can start maybe with the first question with the hiring process itself. It kind of depends with the timeline. So the first step, of course, would be the applying to the position and then meeting with the hiring manager, potentially a phone interview or just a directly on site, and then meeting some of the team, getting a tour of the facility. And then really like the decision could come quickly after that, or if we just recently posted the position, it could be a few weeks. So it just kind of depends on where we're at in the process of hiring and what that looks like. And then once a decision's been made, we would extend an offer. And then that candidate goes through the pre-employment process with a background check, drug screen, and then past employment verification and education verification as well. If those qualifications, such as a degree, is required to be in process, they would check those types of things. And then in respect to the qualities that we're looking for in an intern, it kind of depends on which specific degree perhaps we're looking for. It could be, what classes they've already taken. And if they've had previous internships, it's not necessarily a qualification to most of the time to be considered, but it is appealing if you have a little bit of a taste of a previous internship or past work history. And then as far as other qualities, I don't know if Amanda, Lisa, Maddie, Josh, any of you want to speak to like specific classes or things like that would be considered for an internship. You might be able to speak to that a little bit better than myself, seeing your backgrounds.
Yeah, I can start. So I studied food science, and so we would want someone that would have a little bit more advancement in some of their food science coursework. So some of the food processing classes, food engineering, depending upon your emphasis, things might have changed also since I was there. If you have had some of like the dairy processing courses, or if you've had some experience to work in the dairy plant, which I know has been newly renovated. So that would be even, better if you've had some of that time to work with some of the pilot and production scale equipment on campus as well. Those would be all advantages. Having some of that hands-on experience and some of the engineering coursework would be a great benefit. And so Lisa, I don't know if you have any comments from the egg engineering side.
No, you hit them all pretty much. There's food engineering courses that are offered at UWRF at least. I mean, those are great, very applicable for what we do, but otherwise, Amanda, you hit it pretty well.
Great timing. We have just, I think, a minute for one more question. We like to keep this under an hour. And so our last question, and then we'll wrap up. What would be the appropriate follow-up after this meeting if somebody who was on the trek today wanted to connect with your company? Can you talk a little bit who they would reach out to and how they would do that? Great question.
Yeah. You could reach out to any of us. I could provide my contact information in the chat. I think that might be the most applicable way to get a hold of one of us. And I think furthermore, we have kind of a contact HR email address that I think would be the first route if you wanted to reach out directly. And then I'll throw that in the chat, or I'll make sure that Melissa has that so that she's able to distribute that information. But that would be maybe the first step, or of course going on our website and seeing if we have any openings, if it's an internship opportunity. But if you have questions or want to reach out and get to know a little bit more about GEA, then definitely I'll provide that to you, Melissa. Does that work out okay? I don't know if you're
Great. That's great. I just put my email in the chat. And so if those on the call wanted to reach out to me, I can get that to them. Absolutely. And so kind of in closing today, I want to thank everybody for attending our first trek of fall 2021 and welcome all of our students back to campus. I know some campuses first day of classes was today, others they started last week. And so I can tell you after 25 years of working for the University of Wisconsin system, there's nothing better than seeing students on campus. And I wish you all the best of luck this fall with your academics and personal endeavors and as you manage your career development. But these treks are a great way for you to engage with employers from where you are at and learn about companies. This trek was recorded. It will drop on our UW Treks website within about 5 to 7 working days. And then each trek is hosted live at noon on Wednesdays moving forward. And we will record all of those as well. So you can access them at any time. The past treks and then the ones this fall are all recorded as well. And so again, I want to thank everybody for attending today. Brenda just dropped her contact information, contact HR at GEA.com in the chat. And so if you'd like to learn more about this amazing company located in Wisconsin, please reach out to them. And so with that, I will we'll end this call and end our recording. And if anybody has additional questions, please feel free to reach out. So thank you, Amanda, Brenda, Lisa, Maddie, and Josh for joining us today and engaging with the University of Wisconsin and our students.